old friend of mine on the front row. Lovely to see you. Listen, first of all, apologies that not everybody can get into Town Hall tonight. There are obviously limits to the numbers of people that can get into the building. There's obviously safety requirements, and I'm sure you'd all understand that and appreciate that. So first of all, thank you very much for coming along. Look at it another way. Let's be positive. In adversity, always be positive. It's a sign of success of our campaign that all of our meetings are overflowing. We have the purpose of the meetings is to allow question and answer session, to allow a discussion. We lost the election in May, and I believe that one of the reasons we lost the election was we were not putting forward a sufficiently different economic agenda from the other parties. They were offering austerity heavy, and we were offering austerity light. I don't think that is a credible position to go forward. We have to analyse what's happening in modern Britain, where this process of austerity is enriching the richest, impoverishing the poorest. The greatest gap between the richest and poor of any European country is in Britain, and it's getting worse. The Tory budget is taking benefits away from the children of large families. The Tory welfare reform bill is taking benefits away from many others, and at the same time subsidising low wages and high rents through that system. None of this is necessary, none of this is right, and I believe it has to change. One, an economic policy that works for everybody. The idea of investing in an economy, investing in housing, investing in infrastructure, and collecting the vast amounts of corporate uncollected tax that exist in Britain and indeed all around Europe. So what we're looking for is a redistributive process. Secondly, it's an attitude towards people in our society. We live in a deeply divided society. Any of us walking around Ealing tonight will no doubt come across people who are begging. We'll find some people who are sleeping rough. Anywhere in London you'll find the same story. Indeed anywhere in Britain you'll find the same story. And then you read some of our popular papers and you will hear them described as benefit scroungers. You will hear them described in all sorts of very nasty terms. I think there's something inhuman about that. I want to live in an inclusive society where instead of condemning those that have suffered the worst fates possible in our society, we operate an inclusive agenda in which our whole purpose is to prevent anyone falling into destitution, prevent anyone falling into absolute poverty, and instead of having a free market in the private rented sector and a free market in very expensive private housing development, we invest in council housing with lifetime tenancies, we invest in good quality housing which will help the poorest children in our society have a reasonable start in life, and we control the private rented sector. I live in Islington and I represent North Islington constituency. The housing issues facing my borough are not that different to the housing issues facing Ealing, where the private rented sector, uncontrolled, rents go up, the benefit cap goes down. The result is that the poorest families are forced to move and move and move again and again and again, and in many cases out of London. Imagine how disruptive that is to a child's life. A child growing up knowing they've only got 6 months to go in that flat before they have to move on and sometimes have to continually change schools. It's in the interest of all of us to invest in good quality housing and have a real house building programme to bring that about, and that I'm determined to achieve. Two other points I want to make are these. We in the Labour Party are very proud of the National Health Service. Healthcare free at the point of use. It's a human right. A week ago today, I was in Wales and I went to Tredegar, where Niber Van had been the MP, and we had a health service rally at the Niber Van Stones above the town. And they were rightly proud of the most famous son their town had ever produced, and rightly proud of the National Health Service. But our NHS, free at the point of use, as a universal provision for all, is being destroyed. It's being destroyed by an internal market, it's being destroyed by the profiteers who are moving in to take over services and take over hospitals. It's been destroyed by the lack of planning, and it's been destroyed by the closure of A&E departments and even whole hospitals in various parts of the country. We need to end the internal market in the NHS. We need to bring back planning based on health everybody, and we need a health service that addresses the ghastly health inequalities that exist in every major city in this country. We won't achieve that if the Health and Social Care Bill carries on, which is all about giving over large sections of our NHS to the private sector to make profits out of. We want our NHS back, and I'm determined that Labour policy will be to get it back in its entirety as a universal health service, free at the point of use for all, and a properly funded adult social care system, so we don't have the humiliation of some often very desperate elderly people who cannot leave their NHS beds because there aren't sufficient local authority move-on places for them. And whilst I'm on the subject of health, I just say this. All of us know people who've suffered mental health crises and problems. All of us know people who are going through those kind of crises at the present time. We need a properly funded and properly supported mental health service as part of the NHS, but we also need to change the language and change the music. Recognise that mental health conditions are in part a product of the kind of stressful society in which we all live. I have been in the Labour Party and the peace movement all of my life. In 2016, Parliament will be invited to take a decision on the renewal or otherwise of the Trident nuclear missile system and spending £100 billion so to do. I want to live in a nuclear-free world. I've met people who are nuclear test veterans, victims. I've met people from Japan who witnessed the nuclear explosion at that time, very old people now. I do not believe nuclear weapons bring about peace or security. They cost a great deal of money and actually contribute to greater insecurity and danger in this world. We are obliged, as our signatories to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, to take steps towards disarmament. I want our party to discuss and debate these issues, and not to renew Trident, but also to recognise that the money that is not going to be spent on Trident must be invested in high technology, good quality, manufacturing industry jobs, so those brilliant skills that are currently used to make these weapons of mass destruction instead are making useful products that are for the good of all of us, not a threat to the very existence of this planet.
Hear, hear.
Have a proper diversification of agency. This is an opportunity for the Labour Party. At one level to elect a leader, but another level to change our ways, to be more democratic in how we go about things, to be in tune with ordinary people in standing up for the NHS and those who are victims of the very cruel system that the Tories and Liberal Democrats have introduced. But above all, instead of having an arbitrary date to pay off the budget debt, instead grow the economy. You can't cut your way to prosperity, you grow your way to prosperity. My heart goes out to young people leaving university with massive debts, the young people that can't get jobs anywhere commensurate with their skills because of the way austerity has worked in this country. A generation is being damaged because of it. We can, must, and I believe will change our ways. This campaign is about hope, is about optimism, it is about decency. So no more Prime Ministers that describe desperate refugees as a swarm. No more this language of abuse on people who are benefit claimants and very poor within our society. Be proud of our civilised values and proud of what our movement has achieved in the past. But above all, move forward to change society so that we become a more decent, more inclusive, more caring, more equal society. That is what brought me into the Labour Party as a 16-year-old. That is what motivates me now. And I thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for your support.